Chapter 220 Goddess by my side. Fortunately, the snowy dance of ice and snow didn't last for a long time, so it didn't freeze the entirety of Sea God's Lake. The violent wind and snowstorm slowly stopped. The original battlefield had turned a dazzling white. A foot of ice had already accumulated in that short period of time, and the chill caused the internal temperature of the entire academy to drop. Hua Yua stood where he was as he held Wang Donga's hand. Not far from them stood 5 ice sculptures of different forms. As he turned around, Hua Yua faced Wang Donga and said softly, "I'd like to see you. Can I?" Yes, Wang Dong agreed. After the fight, their tense feelings had disappeared, and the Hadong power that circulated in their bodies had guided them. Even though he was facing a strong opponent, Hua Yua was still very resolute. His hands trembled slightly as he touched the hat and veil. He felt his heart beating faster and faster. His intense yearning was mixed with anxiety. Wang Donga's reaction was greater than his. She lowered her head slightly and twiddled her fingers in front of her. She wasn't anywhere near as full of energy as she was when she had called for a 2 versus 5 fight. Hua Yua eventually stopped. He didn't pull down the hat. He whispered something before Wang Donga nodded her head. In the next moment, Hua Yua held her hand as they glided backward. Countless streaks of lights exploded like fireworks, shooting out from Hua Yua and Wang Donga's bodies as their center, blinding everyone. Amidst the lights, Wang Donga was pulled into Hua Yua's arms, and their bodies combined into one entity. The golden bluish wings started to expand at a frightening speed, their size doubling instantly. The radiant butterfly goddess wings were normally separated into top and bottom, but there was another jade-colored middle wing right now. It was smooth, transparent, and brightly colored, releasing a thick aura of life. The true meaning of life was light and water, and this life aura complemented the aura of light. The dazzling butterfly wings opened wide. Blue, gold, and green lights colored the world around them. Above the wings, there seemed to be countless beads of water refracting what light was present. As the lights shone, layers and layers of frost were released from the radiant butterfly goddess feet, making her slender figure look extremely elegant. As the frost spread, the snowflakes on the ground were guided into the air, where they started to dance. As the freezing chill spread, Hua Yua and Wang Donga's fused bodies started to transform in a shocking manner. A slender figure started to surface from the tri-colored glow. The hat and veil melted away within the golden lights, leaving only a young lady behind. She was more than 180 centimeters tall, and her slender figure extremely captivating. Her long hair was pinkish blue and flowed all the way down to her feet. Her eyes were bright gold, and her slender figure was flawless. No words could describe how proportionate her enchanting figure was. Her ravishing looks were superior to all of the ladies present. Every streak of light and curve of her body were perfectly complementary. No one could describe how they felt when they first saw her. However, she definitely had everyone's full attention. She moved in the next moment. She stepped forward with her left leg and rose into the air. The orange gold snow lady landed on her shoulder as she gestured, and the tri-colored wings behind her back propelled her body into the air as she started to dance. Thick mist started to spread from her legs upward, changing into streaks that surrounded her body as they spun around her. The dark sky suddenly cracked open, and a streak of golden sunlight descended, landing on her body. Suddenly, the surrounding ice and snow were illuminated by a golden glow. A golden halo engulfed her, like a goddess that undergoing a rebirth within the light. She started dancing in the air. Every step she took was gentle and perfect. Her enchanting looks were filled with the light of life and hope, her wings greatly accentuating her body and movements. The raiment of light surfaced as she was surrounded by the warmth of the light. Her wings extended and retracted continuously, adding to her otherworldly elegance. A subtle golden rune appeared on her forehead, clearer than the last time. It seemed to be the image of a golden trident. Her golden eyes were gentle, her smooth white face slightly rosy. Her figure flashed, and was somehow in front of an ice sculpture. As she touched the sculpture, it started to melt. The ice covering the sea god's lake had turned into her stage. As everyone watched in a daze, her dazzling wings beat as she danced in the air. 5 ice sculptures melted one by one. Ling Luoken, Ning Tian, Wu Feng, Shi Wanyu and Dai Huabin had not lost consciousness. They had been lost in the snowy dance of ice and snow, and the spiritual tempest. However, they didn't completely lose consciousness. As the ice melted, a warm feeling engulfed their bodies and quickened their blood. They also saw the ravishing figure and the long, pinkish blue hair, solitary dance amidst the frost, raiment of light. They were also dazed. No matter how negative they felt, their emotions slowly calmed down within this aura that was a combination of cold, life, and light. As the tri-colored wings retracted, the raiment of light finally returned to its original spot. It separated and became 2 different people again. Hua Yua was still Hua Yua, but the lady beside him no longer had her hat on. She was evidently a smaller version of the goddess of light. As her long, pinkish blue hair flowed behind her, her eyes started to roll. She was embarrassed and didn't dare to look at Hua Yua. Hua Yua was also in a daze. Although he knew that it was Wang Donga in front of him, he still didn't believe it. Wang Dong and Wang Donga looked so similar, but he felt as if he couldn't find Wang Dong. Wang Donga was an immature version of the goddess of light. So, my goddess has always been by my side from the start to now. There's a disguise technique in my family that enabled me to change my voice and alter my facial lines. I could even develop an Adam's apple. Although the changes aren't too drastic, they make it difficult for others to recognize me. Wang Donga's voice was very soft, but Hua Yua could still hear her clearly. No wonder she was so different. You concealed the truth from me for so long. Hua Yua grinned. Sorry, Don't say sorry. I was a fool. Hua Yua said gently as he held her hands. Didn't you say that I'm your fool? Don't regret your choice. Let me think about it again. You already have Juzi. Wang Donga shot back. Nonsense. We're only good friends. Hua Yua replied resolutely. Wang Donga lifted her head. Her gaze was slightly stiff as she stared at Hua Yua. Really? Of course, when we first exhibited the raiment of light, I was already captivated by the goddess of light's figure. No one else could enter my heart after that. After pausing for a moment, Hua Yua looked at her seriously. Right now, my goddess is by my side. Wang Donga finally smiled. Her smile seemed as gorgeous as blooming flowers. She had expended a lot of effort just for today. After more than 2 years apart, she had recognized her feelings for him. She had even tried to forget him. However, she realized that she couldn't do so. That was why she went to find him and brought him back to the Clear Sky Sect, hoping that her relatives would approve of him. When she met Juzi along the way, she felt threatened. After returning to the academy, she began her setup. She revealed her identity to Bei Bei, Zhang Nanan, and Xiaoxia, hoping to receive their help. She had wanted to wait until the next Continental Advanced Soul Master Academy Soul Dueling Tournament before she revealed everything to Hua Yua. However, she realized after their separation that she couldn't wait any longer. She was most troubled by the fact that Hua Yua might not develop feelings for her if he didn't know that she was actually a lady, no matter how close they were. Now that everything had settled, he turned out to not be a complete fool, and her hard work had finally paid off. Hua Yua suddenly seemed to think of something. As he turned and looked into the distance, the entire Sea God's Lake was completely silent. However, everyone's attention was focused on him. He was slightly embarrassed. Eldest senior sister, eldest senior, can we go now? The bride kidnapping should have ended, right? Hua Yua shouted towards Bei Bei and Zhang. He normally called Bei Bei eldest senior, while Zhang was often referred to as eldest senior sister by everyone else. When he called out to both of them together, it sounded weird. Everyone only recovered from their shock after hearing his voice. The truth was that no one knew how Hua Yua and Wang Dong had won. They hadn't been able to sense anything, as everything within the domain was under Hua Yua's control. The original 2 versus 5 fight ended in an overwhelming victory, but everyone wasn't focused on the victory. They were more captivated by Wang Donga, as she was too beautiful. Not only were the male students wide-eyed in shock, but the female students were also intoxicated by her beauty. Can we still kidnap the bride now? Some male students said weakly, his words reflecting what most of the male students were thinking. If they had known that she was so pretty, Hua Yua would have had many more competitors today. Zhang glared at the male student who spoke. Cut your crap. Moreover, you'll need to challenge both of them to kidnap the bride. Do you have any confidence of beating them? The bride kidnapping segment is over. I hereby announce that Hua Yua and She abruptly stopped at this point. Bei hurriedly reminded her of Wang Donga's name. Huo Yuao and Wang Donga have gotten together successfully in the eternal love segment. I wish them a blissful future. Huo Yuao and Wang Donga clasped palms and fists towards everyone. They looked at each other and smiled before gliding back to the shore. Huo Yuao had been astonishing in today's blind date. It was also his first time demonstrating his abilities and the strength of the ultimate ice in front of the inner courtyard students. But he personally was even more shocked to discover Wang Donga's true identity. The biggest commotion was happening on the ferry right now. The elders and teachers on the ferry had already disembarked. They had no choice. The ferry couldn't move since the lake water had been frozen. Yan Shaoxi's eyes were shining as he asked, Elder Son, should we ask Huo Yuao about his spirit now? They were all top-ranked soul masters, and could tell the benefits that a spirit could bring. Moreover, Huo Yuao's 4 orange gold soul rings were too shocking. Whether it was a spirit or the orange gold soul rings, they had never appeared before. They would feel very uncomfortable if they didn't ask Huo Yuao clearly about these new existences. Elderson snapped. All right, don't be annoying. They've just become a couple. Let them be intimate for a while. Tomorrow morning, you can come to the Sea God's Pavilion and we'll ask him together. Wang Donga is really secretive. However, Huo Yuao is really just a blockhead. They stayed in the same room for so long, but he never discovered her identity. Ha ha ha. Elder Ling smiled and said, those 2 children are really interesting. Huo Yuao's domain was very strong. I seem to see orange gold rings lighting up when he unleashed the domain just now. Was that a domain type soul skill? Elderson waved his hand and said, it's not that simple. He already has a domain type soul skill, but it's not so strong, and can't cover such a huge region. It seems like this fellow has encountered something miraculous again. I believe this domain is related to his spirit. Since everyone's so interested in his spirit, I shall specifically call for a conference in the Sea God's Pavilion tomorrow and allow him to participate. Since he's also a special member of the Sea God's Pavilion, it's time for everyone to meet him. All the elders nodded their heads. While they were old, they were still very curious. Moreover, this concerned the future development of Shrek Academy. They returned to shore. Huo Yuao still holding Wang Donga's hand tightly. He had too many things to say to her. Huo Yuao grinned as he asked, Donga, is that what I should call you from now on? Wang Donga lowered her head and said softly, yes. Should we leave after the entire event is over? Huo Yuao shook his head and replied, no, it's enough just looking at you. Have you seen enough of me? Wang Donga was amused. Huo Yuao changed his words. Never in this lifetime. Wang Donga smiled. There weren't any outsiders now, and she became less shy. She dared to look into Huo Yuao's eyes now. Yuao, I'm sorry. I hid my identity intentionally from you previously because Huo Yuao interrupted her. I understand. I'm actually very glad. Glad? Wang Donga was perplexed as she looked at him. Huo Yuao chuckled and said, of course I'm glad. If you came in as a female student, I wouldn't have been able to enter your life. You're too pretty, so you'd have captured the attention of others easily. You wouldn't have stayed in the same dorm room as me, and we'd have had no chance of building up our feelings. We wouldn't even have our martial fusion soul skills. Naturally, what happened today wouldn't have happened either. Shall we return to the Sea God's Pavilion? Wang Dong asked. All right. Huo Yuao was bubbling with joy now. His eyes didn't deviate from Wang Donga at all, as if he couldn't get enough of looking at her. As they walked towards the Sea God's Pavilion, Huo Yuao said, Wang Donga, I now understand why you did all those weird things you did when you first entered the academy. For example, you mysteriously went to bathe on your own and you get angry with me after I slept with you. You're so bad. Why do you have to mention all of this? Wang Donga blushed and smacked him. Huo Yuao chortled. I'm telling the truth. Do you still remember when we first managed to create the Golden Road? We fainted because we expended too much energy and were late for class on the second day. We were punished by Teacher Zhou, and she even shouted at us through the window asking whether we were dating. She probably won't expect the both of us to be dating now. As she recalled what had happened that day, Wang Donga revealed a slight smile on her face. Of course I remember. You were such a fool then. You fought so hard every day and made the class fight with you. Thinking about it, I believe many students from our class will be able to enter the inner courtyard when they reach the 6th grade apart from us and 5th senior. Huo Yuao laughed. It must be the good fortune rubbing on us from being class monitors. Wang Donga laughed too. Stop bragging. Huo Yuao said, oh yes, you don't have a twin sister, am I right? Wang Donga rolled her eyes at him. Why are you asking such a stupid question at this point? Of course not. Why would I have a twin sister? Huo Yuao mocked. So you were matchmaking yourself then? Wang Donga blushed. Who asked you to be such a wooden block? Huo Yuao sighed. Yes, I should have thought of it earlier, especially since I saw you that day. Did you remove your veil intentionally for me to see? Or did you intentionally leave your name Wang Qiuer behind to draw me to the Sea God's fate? Wang Donga was stunned. What veil? What Wang Qiuer? Huo Yuao laughed. What? Why are you trying to conceal things from me at this point? I met you that day when I returned to the academy. You were already dressed like a girl then. You also wore a veil, which you dropped when you walked past me. I caught hold of it. When I took a look at it, it was embroidered with the words Wang Qiuer on it. You snatched it back before running away. I failed to chase you. When I reached Shrek City, I lost track of you. Wang Donga was confused. I don't know what you're talking about. Since you returned, I never met you before today. I only peeked at you when you were crying outside the Sea God's Pavilion. What Wang Qiuer? I don't know. What? That wasn't you. Huo Yuao was stunned. He was sure that Wang Donga had no need to lie to him anymore at this point. However, the incident that day was definitely real. What was going on? Wang Donga felt that something was amiss. Yuao, think about it carefully again. Are you sure you saw someone that looked like me? There was no difference at all. Huo Yuao furrowed his brows and tried his best to recall what had happened that day. His spirit eyes were very sharp. His spiritual power was immense and his memory was impeccable. As he tried to recall more detail, he said, she did seem a little different, now that you mention it. She looked a bit older than you, and she was slightly taller than you. Her voice also sounded a little different. However, I only had a short glance at her then, and didn't interact much with her. The feeling she gave me was also very familiar though, but it was slightly different from the familiar feeling that you give me. Wang Donga was shocked as she watched Huo Yuao, and asked, there's actually someone who looks just like me? How is that possible? Huo Yuao laughed bitterly. I don't know either. However, she should be from the academy, since she walked out from the academy that day. Perhaps she's from another academy and trying to get into the inner courtyard just like you mentioned? Donga, are you sure that you don't have a twin sister? Wang Donga replied without any hesitation. Of course I'm sure. I never ever had a sister. I'll go and ask tomorrow. If she tried to enter the inner courtyard, there must be a record. Right. Huo Yuao was also very doubtful now. In his memory, Wang Qiuer was too similar to Wang Donga. The differences between them were almost negligible. Even after acute observation, it was still very difficult for him to differentiate them. I understand now. Huo Yuao exclaimed suddenly. What do you understand? Wang Dong asked hurriedly. Huo Yuao said, I understand why I feel so familiar to her. Compared to her, you're evidently 2 or 3 years younger. She's more like the goddess of light that we exhibited. This also means that you look exactly like her in another 2 years. She's practically your sister. The two of you look too alike. Wang Donga and the Wang Qiuer he saw were actually 2 different people. This was too weird, especially since Huo Yuao realized this after Wang Dong just became Wang Donga. Huo Yuao laughed bitterly. Fortunately, we have the Haodong power. Otherwise, it will be difficult to tell you apart from Wang Qiuer if you stood next to each other. Wang Donga caressed his forehead and said, you seem like you're speaking the truth. Are you sure you weren't running a fever that day and hallucinating? Huo Yuao scratched his head and laughed. That might be possible. Perhaps I just missed my goddess too much. Furthermore, you kept saying that you had a twin sister. That's why I might have imagined it. Well, it doesn't matter anymore, whether or not she exists. I only need my Wang Donga. They had returned to the Sea God's Pavilion as they spoke. After entering, Huo Yuao laughed softly. Are we staying over in your room or my room tonight? Wang Donga blushed. What are you talking about? We can't live together. We can only do it after we marry. Her face was as red as an apple. Huo Yuao lowered his head and was about to kiss her, but she dodged him. Keep your distance. Huo Yuao chuckled. You're overthinking it. I'm saying that we should cultivate together. Did you see how much faster our cultivation speed was with Haodong power? Since you saw that, am I supposed to still cultivate on my own? Wang Dong was filled with caution, but she was evidently delighted. We can't do that either. Who knows if you're getting up to something? Go back to your room and sleep. Huo Yuao looked very pitiful, but I still have a lot left to say to you. Wang Donga laughed and said, let's talk tomorrow. Aren't you tired from this whole event? I felt your rapid heartbeat just now. To ensure my safety, I'll return to my room first. As she spoke, she quickly fled. Huo laughed as he pursued her. Because he used his soul thrusters, he managed to block off Wang Dong's path. Let's see where you can run to. Huo widened his arms and looked at her delightedly. Wang Dong stopped in her tracks, and the smile on her face faded. She walked slowly towards Huo and grabbed his waist lightly before leaning on his chest. Her body was very soft, seemingly even softer than before. Huo hugged her subconsciously, and his heartbeat started to increase rapidly. It wasn't his first time hugging Wang Dong. When the two of them unleashed their martial fusion soul skills, he would often hug her. However, he was never as agitated as how he was now. It wasn't his good brother in his arms now. But, I'm really happy right now. Did you know that? I was really uncomfortable then. I was scared that you wouldn't choose me. What would I have done if you didn't choose me? I don't know. Before you made your choice, my mind was completely empty. After all, Ning Tian and Xing Ling are both very outstanding. They'd have helped you a lot too if they were together with you. At that point in time, you didn't know it was me either. I wanted to remove my hat on several occasions, but I didn't want to garner your recognition with just my looks. I also didn't want my appearance to bring you trouble in the blind date. Everything's been settled now. However, I know that we'll need some time to accept our new identities. I don't know if my feelings for you are more brotherly or romantic. I'm sure it's even more uncertain for you. Can we start over again? Give us some time. After hearing Wang Dong's murmuring voice, Huo grabbed onto her arms and pulled her closer. It was as if he wanted to fuse her into his body. Are you angry? Wang Dong asked. Huo shook his head and said, no, you're right. In this world, you understand me the best. It's true that we need some time for our feelings to change. I really don't know if my feelings for you are brotherly or more romantic. However what? Wang Dong was a little nervous as she struggled out of Huo's arms. She was staring at him. A smile surfaced across Huo's face. However, don't you think that I'm a lecher by reminding me of this in this position? Wang Dong laughed. That's right. You're a lecher. A big lecher. After she finished speaking, she turned around and ran away. However, Huo was prepared. He pulled her back and hugged her again. As he hugged her tiny waist, Huo said softly, you dared to call me a fool. You're also very foolish. Don't you understand me? Without your consent, I won't violate you. I can wait. Wang Dong was a little domineering. Of course you can wait. Even if you have to wait for your entire life, you must still wait. Take this. As she spoke, she suddenly turned around and gave Huo something. What's this? Huo was a little perplexed as he looked at the pouch in his hand. Wang Dong shook her head and said, I don't know what it is either. My eldest uncle gave it to me. He said. She blushed and lowered her head. He said that I should give this pouch to you if I think you're the right guy. I haven't seen what's inside it yet. Huo didn't understand. Why did the Clear Sky Sect master give him a pouch? He subconsciously wanted to open it. However, he was stopped by Wang Dong. You can't open it directly. My eldest uncle sealed it with his spiritual power. If you force it open, it'll destroy everything in it. Otherwise, I would have taken a peek at it. You need your spiritual power to reach a certain standard first before you can open it and see the contents. Huo tried to pour his spiritual power in and felt a great obstruction force. Huo was awed by Ning Tian's cultivation once again after realizing that he was able to use his spiritual power on such a small pouch. He wouldn't be able to overcome this spiritual seal with his current standard, and thus he couldn't take a look at its contents. He would only have a chance to open the pouch when he became a Soul Emperor if his spiritual power continued to grow at its current speed. All right, Donga. I have a question for you. Huo said. What? Wang Dong was confused as she looked at him. Huo asked, why is your hair so messy? Wang Dong laughed. Fool. I braided my hair in the morning, but it was blown into a mess by the wind. That's why it's like this. I'm going. Wang Dong waved goodbye to him. Huo became depressed. We really can't cultivate together. No. Let's wait to calm down first. Wang Dong smiled. As they looked at each other, their gazes met. On this miraculous night, they couldn't control their feelings. However, the change in their relationship seemed to have added a layer between them. Whether it was Huo or Wang Dong, they could clearly sense it. They knew that they were deeply imprinted in each other's hearts, but they needed time to accept the change in their relationship. As he watched Wang Dong leave, Huo looked a little lost. He returned to his room with his pouch. He felt his heart beating faster and faster. Just like what had happened on the Sea God's Lake, he recalled everything that he had experienced with Wang Dong. Things had changed tonight. Huo didn't cultivate, and his mind was filled with Wang Dong's figure. For some reason, her ravishing figure kept on pacing up and down as he ended his dreams. In the morning, the warm sunlight penetrated his room and shone on his body. Perhaps he had been thinking too much last night, but he was feeling very lazy right now. Donga. He muttered and turned over in his bed. Bang, bang, bang. The sound of knocking on the door rang out, jolting the half-asleep Huo awake. As he flipped his body around, he sat up. He subconsciously shouted, Donga. He took a few steps forward to open the door. However, it wasn't Wang Donga standing outside. It was someone with an elderly-looking face. Yan Shaosh was amused as he looked at Huo and said, young man, you're really a young man. You must have been through a lot last night. Huo's face turned red. Dean Yan. Yan Shaosh laughed slightly. Congratulations. Surely you didn't expect Wang Dong to be a girl, right? Huo was stunned and replied, from your tone, it seems like you knew about it. Yan Shaosh laughed. Of course I knew. Elden, you also knew about it. That's why I mentioned that soul masters have a lot to learn. There's a book in the library that specifically introduces rare martial souls. If you have time, you can borrow it to read. It records the radiant butterfly goddess in detail. The radiant butterfly goddess is extremely ravishing, and it only appears on a female soul master. That's why we knew she was a girl from the moment she entered the academy. Huo was stunned. Then why didn't you tell me that? And why did you still let me stay in the same room as her? Yan Shaosh said, I'm sure you know that Wang Dong is from the Clear Sky Sect, and is the most probable successor to the sect. Our academy has a close relationship with the Clear Sky Sect. Why would we expose her? Let's go. Many people are waiting for you. Waiting for me? Huo still felt slightly in a daze. He hadn't had a good rest last night. Thanks so much for watching this video. Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe. Also leave a comment down below with suggestions on what novels to read.